Lately, I've been making a new Super Mario Bros. Wii mod that's inspired by Mayro's Nightmare Mario Wii. However, my mod is going in the direction of fun and wacky instead of annoying and stupid. Now before we get into the mod, I'm gonna say this. If you're a content creator who is interested in playing this mod, then stop watching this video and download the mod now. Link is in the description. It has the first 5 worlds done so far, and I plan on covering all 9. Anyone who wants to keep watching, let's get into the mod. This is what I spent most of 2025 working on. And this is just the title screen. Before I get into the mod, I'm gonna share some technical stuff about it first. To begin with, this started off as 2 separate mod ideas that I decided to combine into one mod. The first idea was just Lucid Dream Mario Wii, which was just Nightmare Mario Wii but with user experience put into account. And the second idea was New Super Mario Bros. Wii Escape to Africa, which is an all-original levels mod with a pre-existing sequel title in the name. I was going between using Darkness Distortion and Escape to Africa, and I went with Escape to Africa because my brother said that Escape to Africa is the greatest sequel title. Also, some countries in Africa would get mentioned somehow, but the only country I mentioned so far before merging mod ideas was Somaliland, which is an unrecognized country I got interested in from watching Fredo Rockwell's videos and brought up in my Sugar and Spice Batatku just for the heck of it. Eventually, I decided to combine these 2 ideas, and now the mod is half joke, half serious, with influence from Nightmare Mario Wii, newer Super Mario Bros. Wii, Clarissa's Crack Hack, and the stolen levels and text edits included in New Super Mario Bros. Wii 2 The Next Levels. And yeah, I'm gonna mention some other countries in Africa. Additionally, this mod was built using December Plus, which basically patches the game to allow some of newer Wii's functions, like the hammer suit and more custom music files, while maintaining stuff from the base game. I also added some other patches to my mod. The main patches I want to point out are this patch, which allows me to edit the Starcoin menu, this patch that allows me to edit the multiplayer mode screens, and this patch that allows Player 1 to change characters. This Player 1 patch in particular is one of MKWCat's Gecko codes, and it's a really nice cheat code I've used when I started modding this game. When I saw that a patch exists to let this cheat code run in-game without having to input Gecko codes, I immediately added that patch into my mod. For this video, I'm just gonna play as Yellow Toad. Yellow Toad needs more appreciation anyways. First, let's talk about 1-1. Nightmare Mario Wii had a heavily modified 1-1, so I thought I'd do my own take on it. I took some inspiration from Mayro's 1-1, but I wanted to include my own changes to make my 1-1 edit a bit more unique. Right at the start of this level is this really small gap. I was going for how the first Mario Maker dealt with the start of the level in the Super Mario World and New Super Mario Bros. U modes, and yeah, that's just how it is in the first Mario Maker. I made the rolling hills a little bit faster too. Also, this rolling hill has no pipes. Now for these pipes, I changed one of them to be blue, and I made one of them move because I didn't know what else to do with it. Also, you can go down this blue pipe, and it takes you to the P-switch area. I added some blue coins to go to here as well, and some of the brick blocks are changed to have Yoshis in them. Also, I decided to make the P-switch infinite. And since this mod uses December Plus, we also get the randomized Yoshi colors in newer Wii. This yellow pipe just takes you back up to here. Also, I made a King Bill go up instead of towards you. And don't worry about the blocks that broke. I put some hidden blocks here so you could get some additional goodies. Also, while we're here, did you know that you can do this with King Bills? Yeah, I found that out by accident. I made these 2 pipes connected. Also, there are tumbling Goombas everywhere. I wanted to include some extra gaps on the ground without affecting the collision, so there's just mini mushroom platform bridges. And since I spammed tumbling Goombas everywhere, you can see them roll. Rolling on a river. Also, I put air currents here. And I also set up these semi-solid bridges so you can get up here without a propeller mushroom. As always, there's the red coin challenge. I wanted to include all 8 red coins somehow. This star coin is completely unchanged. I also removed the hidden block with the one up here so you can get out of this area easier. Also, you can go down this pipe now. I changed the star coin area up a little bit so it'll be a bit more unique. Normally you're supposed to wall jump up the pipes, but since I brought Yoshi with me, I have to do a bit of flutter tech. And if you go up this pipe, you get to go in this hidden section, which I left unchanged. Now you can go back up, or you can go back in this pipe and just go back around and go back in the yellow pipe. That's the only rolling hill with a pipe though. I'm gonna get back to it later. Now there's two Bowsers. Normally this is where the level ends, but I still wanted to make my 1-1 a bit more unique, so I added a bone coaster here. And it only operates if you're off of Yoshi. There's also this path of red blocks down here in case if you don't want to ride the bone coaster, but they only work if you have the red switch from World 3 turned on or if you're playing in any of the multiplayer modes. And that's the end of the level. I remixed that Course Clear jingle, by the way. Now let's get to the only rolling hill with a pipe in it. You're gonna have to wait a while for the pipe to show up. Also, I made the rolling hill roll counterclockwise instead of clockwise. This takes us to a whole new area. As you can see, there are giant wigglers down there, just casually walking around and shifting their molecules so they can walk through each other, as you do. And then there's these giant wigglers you can bounce on. Don't worry, they don't mind. They're here to help you get the Amogus-shaped coins. And in case if you missed any of the star coins, you can just get them here. Also, this is a secret exit. Also, if you go in the level with a mini mushroom, and get all the way back to here, you can get 9 1-ups in this circle. Why? Yes. That's basically it for 1-1. Now let's talk about 1-2. This was originally going to be 1-1 of the mod before I made it half joke, half serious. Since I went with the half joke, half serious route, I moved this level to 1-2 instead. This level is more of a simple introductory level. There's a fire flower here. You can smack the Goombas with fireballs. There isn't really much to talk about in this section. It's just your pretty basic platforming stuff. So I'm gonna talk about the background music I used. This is a Siva Gunner rip, using One Winged Angel as the main melody. The original high-quality rip covers the entirety of One Winged Angel, but One Winged Angel is a pretty long song, so I just did what Kingdom Hearts 2 did and shortened the song while including some of the biggest highlights. Now there is this gap with some coins here. I wanted the coins to at least indicate something, and there's a secret path here. This pipe takes us to this room. I wanted this room to introduce the propeller blocks, or blooper boxes, if you will. This room also has the second star coin. By the way, did you know that the blooper boxes can bounce off each other? And there are also tumbling Goombas here. I had way too much fun incorporating them. Also, I included Goombrats and Shy Guys. Shoutouts to Rag Guy for making the custom Goombrats and Shy Guys. Now, Newer Wii does come with Shy Guys, but Rag Guy's Shy Guys actually give you points if you smack them with a frozen enemy or a shell or something. And then we get to this part. There's a red Koopa here, just chilling. You can also get a spare propeller suit if you want. And all the way up here has the third star coin. Also, I put a P-switch here. It's as simple as that. I put some more Shy Guys here because I really like Rye Guys, Shy Guys. And yeah, that's the end of the level. Now for 1-3. I felt like including enemy spawning pipes. Since the original 1-3 was a Yoshi level, I decided to make my own Yoshi level. I put these red blocks down here so Yoshi can be easier to get if he falls into the pits, but the red switch would normally not be on at this point, so anything that falls down here would just fall to their doom. I also put some Shy Guys here as well. And here's a Hammer Bro. Before this mod was ported into Nsumber Plus, I mostly put Hammer Bros here so Yoshi can just eat the hammers and spit them out at anybody. Also, I included the unused Yoshi cookies. They basically function the same as the fruits. This green pipe works, by the way. And it's a quick underground section with Shy Guys. Also, the second star coin is here. And there's another Shy Guy. Can you tell I like the Shy Guys? Also, blue pipe awareness! And the blue pipe awareness takes us back to the surface. Also, there are piranha plants here. You could either let Yoshi eat them, which is boring, or you can spit hammers at them. I prefer the hammer option. Right here's the third star coin, nothing much. And this marks the last of the cookies and the fruits. I also included this brick block here because if Yoshi ever got damaged, you could easily jump back onto him. Also, I made this brick a 10 coin block. And here, I kinda went overboard on the piranha plants. I had too much fun letting Yoshi eat hammers and spitting them at piranha plants. And also, there's this. It's a sick way to get infinite 1-ups if you try. And yeah, that's the normal exit. Normally this level has a secret exit, so naturally, I had to include one. There's also a POW block right up there, just in case if you lost your Yoshi or don't have any other power-ups. Now where exactly is the secret exit? Well, it's right here. And it takes you to another underground section with giant wigglers. You can't jump on them this time, they're just up in the ceiling, like a giraffe in a loft. And that pretty much sums up the secret exit. Since we already got the secret exit, let's check out what the cannon has. It's essentially just a continuation of the path from 1-3. You go into this pipe, and now you get to see a lot more giant wigglers. And there's a bunch of coins here, too. You know, in case if you wanna. And there are blooper boxes here, in case if you came in here without a propeller suit. And right here is where this segment ends. We go into the pipe, and we're back outside, ready to go into the cannon and head off to World 5. Also, I might have added some more giant wigglers. Before we get to the fortress, let me talk about the Toad houses. One of the things I liked about Nightmare Mario Wii was that the Toad houses were edited into something creative. Yeah, they were designed to be annoying, but it was still a fun and technical inspiration for me. Also, I changed Toad's dialogue for each Toad house variant. Now let's get into some power-up panels. This stage is actually inspired by the first Nightmare Mario Wii Toad House, mostly with the fact that the grid was split into two and you had to go there via some sort of obstacle. Seeing the grid split up into two ended up being a huge technical inspiration for me, and I wanted to try making a fun approach to splitting up the grid in two. That way the obstacle, in this case the metal block walls, is not really super annoying to deal with. You get a bunch of loot out of this. I'm generous like that. Also, there is a 1 in 6 chance of this happening. Oh yeah! Oops, all mini mushrooms. That was an idea I stole from New Super Spike Wii. Actually, scratch that. In the wise words of Cavis Apithart, I didn't steal it, I borrowed it. Now on to the Star House. Originally, I was gonna make the chest give you a random item, but when I ported the mod into Nsumber Plus, I thought about giving the player easier access to the hammer suit in their inventory. So I put many chests here that give you a selection of items. Okay, let's talk about the fortress. I made the tower blocks look a bit light bluish, so that way they match with Larry Koopa's hair. The main gimmick I thought of using for this level was the use of these volt-controlled platforms. I didn't really do much with them, so I just sprinkled them around the level. You got your dry bones here, and you also got these moving platforms to help you go up, although you can also wall jump. Now this section, you can either use this volt-controlled metal block to go all the way up, Or you could just go to this hidden area and get a star coin. I should probably move that. And if you get rid of the dry bones here, don't worry, there's a moving platform that you could use to get all the way up. More dry bones! And a star coin! Brilliant! There's also a red Koopa Troopa here, because I don't know, why not? And now just one more bolt trip upwards. Also, I put the third star coin here. And now we can go all the way up here to the boss door. There's a fire flower right there, in case if you really need it for something. Also, I put a hammer suit there. I kind of forgot about that. We'll get into the hammer suit later. Right now, let's just fight Larry. I also changed up the boss arena. Other than the arena, not much has really changed about this fight. There aren't any walls you can wall jump off of, though. And you can also jump up here to cheese the fight. It is possible for Larry to jump up here too, so be cautious about that. Yes, that was a Fire Emblem victory theme after a Mario boss theme. That was 100% intentional. Next up is everyone's favorite level, 1-4. For the start of the level, I wanted to make it start off like 1-2 in the base game. I didn't feel like copying over the entire start and wanted to recreate it with my own creative flourishes. And now begins the underwater part. To make this underwater level less tedious, I gave you a penguin suit. Now you can swim faster and freeze as many fish as you want. And be careful with your penguin suits, everybody, because freezing fish and swimming around faster is a privilege. And in case if anybody's wondering... Yes! This is the music I chose for the underwater theme. This song is from Choaniki, Kyukoku, Muteki Ginga, Saikyo Otoko. It's the Arnold Schwarzenegger with the comb over sticking out his H.R. Geiger dick boss theme. I mainly chose that for the underwater theme because I want to throw people off somehow. Also, I put an invincibility star here. And there is a blooper. Perfect for invincibility stars. Anyways, into the pipe. Now it's time for an entirely new segment featuring these water bubbles from World 7. I also put dry bones in here because why not? Anyways, here's the red coin challenge! And now it's time for more fun with these water bubbles. Since they're just moving water, you can just move around in them easily. And then we get back to another regular old swimming segment. I also put an invincibility star here, because one-up chains. Look at those one-ups. And I also included some more paratroopers underwater. And just right there is right about when this segment ends, but there's also this pipe up here. This is originally going to be a secret exit, but then I decided to turn it into a bonus area.
Flying fish! Flying fish!
Also, watch out for the flying fish bones. They really want you to play as them in Mario Kart World. As you can see, I was not that careful. You just go back here after all of that. And now we're back to the water bubbles, as well as the third star coin. Now we just go all the way here, enter the blue pipe awareness, and now we're back up here, as if no water level shenanigans ever happened. Except you can see that there's water down here. Ooh. Now this is the part of the world where the enemy ambush is. There are 3 enemy ambush stages chosen by random, and I edited all of them. I changed the balloons to have Toad dancing, by the way. That's an original animation I made. Basically, for the first enemy ambush, I thought it would be funny if it was all mini Goombas. Now on to the second enemy ambush. I finally added the regular Goombas. And the large Goombas. For now, I'm just gonna talk about the song I chose. This is Teppich Fliegen, das ist logisch from Aladdin und die Wunderlampe, which is Dingo Pictures' rendition of Aladdin. This is another instance of me choosing a song for the sake of throwing people off. And I also use this song for the sake of the enemy ambush outro. And here's the third enemy ambush. all you have to do is just jump across, get the balloons, and try not to get hit by any of the Goombas in the pit. Also, the chest is up there now. I put some hidden blocks here to make going up to the platform easier. Since this stage was a bit more challenging, I changed the reward to benefit from it. You get 5 mushrooms instead of 3 of them. Now let's talk about the 1-up house. Originally, this was where the second power-up panels was in the base game, but I changed it to the 1-up house so it's included on the map. As you can see, I have also changed Toad's message here. This game of 1-up blast is not really as modified. I just added some more 1-up balloons for you to pop. Also, I changed the message for when everyone misses. And while we're on the subject of changing messages, I also changed this message that pops up when you try to exit a level. The line, "Scare you want to run, ha 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 ha," was taken directly from New Super Mario Bros. Wii 2 The Next Levels. I thought it sounded funny, so I wanted to reference it. Also, I changed the jingle that plays whenever everyone's in a bubble.
Bruh.
It's a simple recreation of the original. Now let's talk about 1-5. Originally, the 1-1 edit was gonna go over 1-5, and I was gonna make a rolling hill level for 1-6. Eventually, when I was rearranging the levels that were finished for World 1 so far, I decided to put the rolling hill level over 1-5. So now it's a sky athletic level with rolling hills. And as with sky levels like this, you got your mushroom platforms. And a propeller suit. I don't know why these blocks clump up like this. Now the first star coin was originally right here, but then I decided to put it on a path. And here's a rolling hill with a lot of coins. Also, Chestnut Valley is playing again. Not only is this the theme for 1-1, but I also made it the athletic theme as well. I'm gonna get into some technical stuff here, but in Nightmare Mario Wii, Chestnut Valley goes over the Princess Peach's rescue theme at the end of the final boss fight. For my mod, I put it over the athletic theme so I could make the enemies and flowers dance to the music, as previously shown back in 1-1. And also if you go down here, there's a star coin and you got this nice little path to jump on. And you got some more spinning mushroom platforms as usual, I see. And we end off with these rolling hills, except this one goes in the opposite direction just to spice things up. Also, I put the flagpole on a mushroom platform. It helps add to the aesthetic. Now let's talk about 1-6. This was originally gonna be 1-2, but I moved it over to 1-6 because it was the only other completed level at the time. You go in the pipe, and it's an underground lava level now. And this is one of the few remixes I made for this mod. This is a remix of the underground theme from newer Super Mario Bros. DS. I put different kinds of Goombas here because there's a bunch of different Goomba sizes in the enemy ambushes, and I wanted to at least have a level that reflects off of that. Now we get to this section. There's a mini mushroom path down there, but we can't access this, so we're just gonna have to go into the pipe. And it takes us to an underwater section. This was the main reason why I decided to put this over 1-6 instead. Since this is an underwater segment, I put a penguin suit here. And I just lost it. Great! So the main gimmick of this part is you're just basically swimming upwards. And there's also ice flowers here to use as ammunition, as well as some penguin suits here and there. But yeah, this segment is basically just go up. And you can freeze the fish if you want. And as you keep going up, you make it to this part, where there are split paths, and you have to choose the right one. As you can see, this is not the correct path. This is a mini mushroom ceiling. And then the one over here is a semi-solid bridge. I didn't know there was a difference between them when I was a kid. Ah well, now we're back out here. We can come across these mini Goombas. Also, the third star coin was in that pit. And yeah, that basically does it for 1-6. Although this is the normal exit, there is a secret exit. Now for the secret exit, you're gonna need a mini mushroom. Originally, you were supposed to bring a mini mushroom with you, but I wanted to be nice, so I just hid a mini mushroom up here. Now you just have to go through the entire level while being mini. Also, you can skip the underwater section entirely. You get some 1-ups as compensation. Also, the mini Goombas don't really harm you when you're tiny, they just clump around you. And yeah, there's a hidden path down here that you can only get with a mini mushroom. This takes you to a nice little bonus area. You can take one of these blooper boxes and go flying around the level to get as many coins as you want. And that's basically it for the secret exit. Now before I get to the castle, let's take a look at the extra levels I added to the world map. Starting with 1-7. If you remember from 1-1, the secret exit leads you to an underground section with giant wigglers. So to connect with that area, I made this level dedicated to giant wigglers. And you can use the giant wigglers to bounce up really high, and they don't mind at all. Also, they scramble their molecules to pass through each other, as you do. Then after the checkpoint, I wasn't really sure what else to add, so I included these pots from World 6. Also, there are chains here. I just wanted to include them. And then I wanted to do more with the pots, so there's this section. You got a bunch of tricky jumps you gotta go through. Just be glad you can wall jump up these pots. And now we're back to the wigglers who can scramble their molecules. They only scramble their molecules around their own kind, by the way. And there we go. That's the end of the level. Also, giant wigglers evaporate when you touch the flagpole. The small wigglers don't. I don't know why. And once you beat 1-7, you get to go into this pipe in the world map. It basically gives you the opportunity to walk around the enemy ambush. Now for 1-8. For this level, the secret exit dealt with using the mini mushroom to find a secret path. I, of course, had to do something relating to that for this level. Mini mushroom parkour! There's a bunch of brick blocks with mini mushrooms in them, and I scattered them across the level in case of anybody who's playing this in multiplayer, because they pull out one mini mushroom at a time, and question mark blocks with mini mushrooms in them will sometimes spawn super mushrooms if anybody doesn't have a power-up in multiplayer. We could either go run on the water, or do a little bit of mini mushroom parkour. And all throughout, you really need a mini mushroom if you want to progress. So here's the second room. The first star coin is right up there. This room has a much bigger emphasis on jumping. Sometimes if you want to jump higher, you can just spin jump. Also, I put some mini Goombas here. Now this part is pretty much the same as the first room, where there's two alternate paths, one where you run on the water, one where you just do a bunch of jumping, and now this part is entirely running on the water, as well as some high jumps. Now it's time for the third section. This section has wind at its maximum speed and is going against you. And the only way to bypass this is by spin jumping. Also, if you jump normally, the wind pushes you back. Hence why you gotta spin jump. For some reason, spin jumps without a propeller suit make you move normally in this game and bypass the wind, so I thought I'd utilize that as well. I was mainly inspired by Noir Heart playing Nightmare Mario Wii's 2-6 with a mini mushroom. That level had fast wind going against you, and Noir Heart thought the level was pretty fun with the mini mushroom, so I thought I'd do something like that for my mini mushroom parkour level. Now here's the second star coin. Now one of the ways you can get it is you can use the wind going against you to your advantage. You can also spin jump to get it, but that's not as fun. And now we gotta use the wind blowing against you in order to get to that pipe up there. This pipe just takes us to the final boss arena, but I removed all the Bowser stuff. Also, these coin patterns are actually coins that appear in coin battle mode, but I decided to make them appear here. I replaced Bowser with Spike, and that's like the only major threat in this level. Much of the level is still the same from the final boss, but there are some parts where I changed it to make the player move across easily. These question mark blocks had fire flowers, but I replaced them with mini mushrooms. I should probably replace them with brick blocks. Also, the third star coin is moved somewhere else. As we move down here, the lava is replaced with water. So yeah, you can either jump on the platforms or run across the water and then jump on the platforms. Also, this is where the third star coin is. And just like Nightmare Mario Wii, there is a pipe here that just leads to the exit. This pretty much takes us to the end of the level, and we can say hi to some mini Goombas. Now for beating 1-8, you get to this power-up panels level. I thought it would be more rewarding that way. Now for this power-up panel stage, everything is split into two segments like before, but this time there are no metal blocks blocking the way, and you can just use this moving grid to just go up to the other panels. I have no idea why the UI glitches out like that. And yes! There is a 1 in 6 chance of getting oops all mini mushrooms here as well. That's gonna happen for literally every game of power-up panels in this mod. You're welcome. Now let's finish off with the castle. There is now water in this castle instead of lava. I thought this would make this castle's aesthetic a bit more interesting. I wanted to incorporate these rotating platforms somehow, so I just placed them in areas I thought would fit. And of course, you gotta have your dry bones. And since this is a water castle, there's fish here. It helps makes this castle a bit more lively. Now we get to here. I put some coins here as a warning because...
Fly fish, fly fish!
There's also a P-switch here. I wanted to include some more Among Us references in my mod. That was my biggest takeaway from Clarissa's crack hack. There's also these moving tower blocks. When I saw Nightmare Mario Wii's 4-Dash Castle, I thought it was cool to see the tower blocks replace the moving chain link fences, so I wanted to incorporate that into a castle level as an obstacle for the player to overcome.
Fly fish, fly fish!
Like these tower blocks that have the second star coin. Also, we have this. I know this looks weird and shouldn't be possible, but hey, dreams are weird in the first place. This rotating platform has...
Fly fish!
I should really put a warning on there. And that's the end of this segment. That brick block is supposed to have a fire flower, but I got damaged, so I just get a super mushroom. Now let's go into this door. And that got me thinking. It's been a while since the player has visited 1-1, so I let them play it again. It's basically nostalgic at this point. Since Mayro kind of popularized the revisiting 1-1 trope, I decided to give her a shout out here. Red Toad is up here this time because this isn't a Toad rescue level. For any 1-1 revisit, all the pipes will connect to each other. The rolling hill with the secret exit pipe is gone though, it's just a regular rolling hill. And yes, you can still do this with King Bills. These guys are weird. They were only intended to be used in 9-8. There is a subtle difference in this 1-1, aside from the Mayro shoutout. I changed the background rocks to be dark blue instead of brown. Here's the red coin challenge. Not much to say here. Now my plan is to have 1-1 appear twice per world. That way the player doesn't get too overwhelmed from 1-1 appearing back to back to back to back to back. And every 1-1 is gonna have a subtle difference. Now instead of the flagpole to end the level, there's a pipe to go down. This pipe leads us to the boss fight, of course. There's a single fire flower here in case if anybody wants it. Now it's time for the boss arena. I didn't really change it that much, aside from adding water and changing the background, but there is a bit of a gimmick here. If you end up going too low,
Fly fish, fly fish!
if you end up going too high,
Fly fish, fly fish!
aside from that, it's just the same Larry battle as usual. You just have to be careful where you are so you don't spawn the flying fish. We've had a Fire Emblem victory theme after a Mario boss theme. Now let's have a Mario victory theme after a Fire Emblem boss theme. Consistency! Deal with it! Now that's basically it for all the levels in World 1. However, I do want to show off Peach's castle. The hit movies are here. I was originally planning on not having them, but I decided to keep them anyways. And inside this door, it leads to a room that is essentially just a playground for Yoshi. Before I put this mod in December Plus, I set up this room to be a playground for Yoshi spitting hammers at enemies. Mostly to see what hammers collide into with the base game. In December Plus, the hammers were patched to also have collisions with other enemies. And I even edited some of the patches myself. Mostly to get some enemies to react to hammers. There's also fruits and cookies here to grind for power-ups and 1-ups. I also put a chest up here with a random item in it, so that way it saves your progress with whatever power-up you end up having. While I'm at it, let's talk about the hammer suit, because I also put it in this room. The overworld model is a skin I found on Game Banana, and I thought it would be cool to incorporate it into my mod. As for the character outfits, I actually reskinned them myself, so that way there's a bit of consistency between the characters and the power-ups. Also, it helps keep every playable character distinguishable from each other. And yeah, that's basically it for World 1 of my mod. I do plan on covering each of the other worlds though, so stay tuned for those. For now, let's watch one of the hit movies. How about 1-1 Infinite 1-Ups? That sounds interesting.
Oh no!
Ooh, it's wet out here.